Hi, I'm Darcy, Technical Director for Aladdin Products, here to show you how simple it is to install an EasyFit isolation valve. Firstly, you clean your pipe with your Easy Pipe Clean to make sure it's free from any paint or debris. You then get your EasyFit valve, ensure that all components are in the pack. You get 2 levers, a valve, a cap and a toolkit in a starter pack. We also do a refill pack which is exactly the same but without the tools. An EasyFit isolation valve is installed using the toolkit provided in your starter pack and also an 18-volt drill. That's all that's needed to install a valve onto a live pipe installation. Open your toolkit, make sure you've got your extended driver, your socket and your posi drive. So first we'll use the extended driver in your 18-volt drill, undoing the 4 retaining bolts on the housing. Checking that the seals are in place inside the valve. If the seals have moved slightly in transit, just push those back into the grooves into the housing to ensure you get a tight seal around the pipework. We're now going to position the valve around the pipework. We set the valve where it's going to stay because there are grab rings within the valve, so once they grip you can't rotate the valve, so ensure it's in the position it's going to stay in. First we'll put the lower housing onto the pipework and then the upper housing. Locate the housings using your drill, tighten the bolts. Firstly, I'm just positioning the housing and just putting the valves in place. We'll then switch to torque on the drill, the highest torque level on your drill, and then working it in sequence, going 1, 3, 2, 4, so you've got equal compression around the valve body. Working your way around the bolts, ensure that they're all fully tightened. Then checking either side of the valve body to make sure you've got a tight clamp around the pipework. And that's it, that's your valve fitted, that we now need to drill through, taking out that section of pipework which is then cut and embedded into the housing, into the base of the housing, and the core of the valve then replaces the pipework inside the valve. We're now going to change to our socket and remember to go onto drill mode. You'll see on the socket there are 2 markers. There's a blue marker and a red marker. Now these markers are because we produce different size valves and different types of valve. The red marker is for our 15mm standard valve. The blue marker is for our Pro valve, which will cover 15.5 inch imperial pipework, copper and plastics. And then we go on to a red marker for the 22mm valve and then back to the blue for our 28mm valve. We're now going to cut the section of pipe within the valve using your 18-volt drill and the socket. You don't need to put pressure onto here to push through because the socket is threaded, the core is threaded, and that will automatically pull the blade through the pipework. Now we should do an install. The next stage is to remove this collar. Now you'll see on the top of the valve there is a red vernier dot on the valve body and also on the core of the valve, and the same underneath depending on which orientation you've installed the valve. Now these dots now need to be inlined, so you've got the bore of the valve in line with the flow of the pipework. Now we change from the socket to our posi drive. We then remove the split poly sleeve. This split poly sleeve stops the spindle activating the main boot seal too soon. Once we remove this, we remove the nut off the spindle. We then position your cap, make sure the straight edge meets up with the straight edge of the valve, and activate your main boot seal. Ensure not to over tighten the cap so you don't split it. We'll now fit our lever. We have a blue lever and a red lever. On this occasion we've gone onto a cold line, so we'll fit the blue lever. And that's it. That's your full bore isolation valve fitted onto a live line, isolated in minutes.